So for my number five, I'm gonna get real geeky on you for my top five. So
No
for my
problem.
number five is Shang-Chi and the Legends of the Ten Rings. That is directed by Dustin Del Cretin. I don't know if or Cretin. I don't know how you
Yeah,
say his last
I'm
name.
not sure. I'm not sure.
It's starring Samuel Lee, Tony Leung, Aquafina, and it's opening July 9th, 2021. It was formerly May 7th, but of course, because of the pandemic, Marvel had to shift all their movies back. And this is after bringing the true story of Brian Stevenson's to the screen in this year's Just Mercy. Dustin Dale Creighton will be joining the big leagues for the next project. Shang-Chi will be the Marvel Cinematic Universe's first Asian-led film.
Mhm.
Kim's Conveniences. I messed up. I'm not reading it right. Oh, Simu Liu. Is that how you say his name?
Simu Liu, I believe. Yeah.
Simu Liu, yeah, I'll edit that out. Simu Liu is set to star, and the Farewell's Aquafina has also been cast in an unknown role. Now, this is supposed to be, from what I've been reading, I don't know if you go online to find spoilers or you read anything that people
I
scoop
I
out.
try to stay away from spoilers, but I am on Twitter, so sometimes
Right
they
on.
happen.
So this is supposed to be kind of like a Mortal Kombat kind of thing where it's a tournament and Shang-Chi is fighting and all that stuff. The Mandarin is the bad guy for this.
Yeah. Yes.
I did a whole video. You can check it out in the iCards. I'll put that in the iCards. But I mean, I won't spoil anything for you or anybody that watches this video. But I have to say, if they're going to do what they're going to do, it sounds really good. I'm quite excited about the certain characters that are going to show up. Now, I haven't heard any spoilers of who Aquafina's character is. Personally, I hope she plays somebody with powers and not just say like a Rachel McAdams from Doctor Strange, where she plays like a
Sure.
nurse and she'll never show up again. And if she does, it's so weird if she does. But I hope she plays a character that's not just a secondary character for one movie, because I really do like Aquafina. I think that she's funny, and she also does a great I don't know if you saw the Farewell movie that she was in.
Yes, I was
um
I was going to mention that. I was going to ask you about that. So I think she's really great in that. Very
so
natural. Very
good. I love that. I cried so hard. It
yeah.
was
Very girl next door in that, but very like in a dramatic way, of course, but very relatable.
for sure. Yeah, no, I thought that she does a good job in that movie, and I thought that compared to her more comedic stuff, that she's able to play an emotional, more dramatic role, and I really enjoyed that. And I do like Aquafina, except for her music. I don't like her music, but that's
I I don't even know what her music is, so
yeah, I'm
lost
it's
on that.
yeah, she's got a song called My Vag, and like
Oh
I
right,
just
I remember now.
yeah, and I'm like, this is she's rhyming my vag with my vag. That's not rap. That's just I could write a song like this. Just end every sentence with my vag. I'm like, this is ridiculous. What is this nonsense? So that is my number. I'll probably cut out all that that stuff about my vag song, but that is my number five. What is your number five?
All right, we're getting down to it, man.
Holler.
Getting down to the nitty gritty here. All right. So my number five is I'm not even sure I know how to pronounce it. Is Reminiscence.
Okay.
Yep. So my number five is Reminiscence. It is I'll just read it for you. Reminiscence is an upcoming American science fiction drama thriller film written and directed by Lisa Joy in her feature directorial debut. The film stars Hugh Jackman, Rebecca Ferguson, Thandie Newton, Daniel Wu, and Cliff Curtis. It is scheduled to be released by Warner Brothers on HBO Max and in theaters, but it is undated right now. Now, good and positive and negative. They did take it off the release slate, I believe, maybe 2 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
But last week, just a few days ago, actually, not even a week ago, it was included in the newest HBO Max teaser trailer for all of their films because they're starting to get to the good ones, right? Like Godzilla versus Kong, and I mean, I don't know if it's going to be good, but the Suicide Squad's a big one, which will come out in the summer, no matter what. So yes, and here. So the premise is Nicholas Bannister, a rugged and solitary veteran living in a near future Miami, flooded by rising seas, is an expert in a dangerous occupation. He offers clients the chance to relive any memory they desire for a price. So that's the plot line. I just think it's such a cool plot. I don't know if this script was, let me look it up. This script was written by Lisa Joy, who's the partner of Jonathan Nolan, who's the brother of Christopher Nolan. So she worked on Westworld, which is sort of like a sci-fi show as well. So that's cool, but it is her directorial debut. Now, I don't know if you watched that HBO Max trailer. It's beautiful, by the way. You should watch it. Yeah, it's great. With the music, right? With the, but so it was included in that. Just
how'd that go again? How'd that go?
Yeah. 3 little small clips, right? Of Reminiscence. Looks very good. Looks sort of like, I mean, it's futuristic, but it looks like a throwback in terms of it's going to be a noir sort of, maybe slow burn film, and then there's a reveal at the end, right? So I expect the third act to be rollicking.
Very
but yeah. So Reminiscence is my number 5. I think it's going to be, and we don't know much about it. I think it's different. I love superhero films. I love action films. I love everything, musicals. The big films, the films that are $100 million budgets, right? Plus, I love those films. I have no issue with them. But this is sort of a little bit smaller, a little bit more, maybe abstract. So hopefully, the story's good. It has Hugh Jackman, Rebecca Ferguson. So they've worked together before, so they have a nice chemistry.
Yeah.
So, and what was it? And The Greatest Showman.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I'm really looking forward to it, and I like that we haven't seen too much from it. So I think they'll just have one more trailer, like a full trailer, a 2-minute trailer, and that's it. And I think it seems like a possible awards contender. So, I mean, maybe it'll just be like one of those. I don't think it'll break. Maybe it won't break in, right, for the awards. Maybe it's too entertaining or whatever. But I think it might be a fall/November, December release. That's what they're saving it for, because I don't think they would have included it if they took it off and saved it for 2022. But there's no reason to save it, really. I don't think there is. Like it was already delayed. So I believe it was originally scheduled to be released on April 16th this year. But it's shifted, so I think it'll come out in fall. It seems more like a fall film anyways. So that's my number 5.
Right on. Awesome. All right. Well, I'll get to my number 4, and I won't take up too much time because you already mentioned it, and it is Eternals. I am quite excited about this movie. Like you said, directed by Chloe Zhao. I think that I haven't seen Nomadland either, but I will watch it. I don't think it's available to the masses yet. I think it's only got to people that get screeners. But yeah, I think that this movie...
It hasn't released yet.
Right. Yeah. Well, I know a couple of people that have seen it because they get
nice
and stuff. But yeah, no, I'm excited about this movie because I love comic books. I haven't read the Eternals comic books, but they just released some new ones that I guess are kind of tying into this movie or whatnot. But the cast, as far as the cast goes, I love some of the people on here. Like I said before, I love Gemma Chan. I watch pretty much everything that she's in. I think she's so freaking hot, for one, and I just love her voice. And she was in this British show called Humans, I think it was called.
Yes, I've heard of it.
She plays a robot, and the whole time I'm like, why isn't this woman in movies? What is going on here? She's so awesome. So I'm super happy that, and then when they put her in Captain Marvel, I'm all like, this is ridiculous. She's like playing a nobody character. I'm like, they're not using her well. And then even though some people don't like her, I still like Angelina Jolie. So I'm quite excited to see her be Marvel's Wonder Woman with her armor and everything, although she'll be blonde. And yeah, it'll be super fun. I'm kind of relating this to like with Guardians of the Galaxy, because when they announced Guardians of the Galaxy, I was all like, who was looking for this movie? Nobody. These are like so like third tier characters,
Yeah,
and they're just gonna make this movie with these people, and then it ended up being so good. I was like, oh,
yeah,
I love the Guardians of the Galaxy. So I'm quite excited to see what they do with this movie and how it relates to the rest of the MCU. But yeah, I'm quite excited about it. So that's my
yeah.
my little.
I I think I think this one, not, I don't think it'll be more cosmic, but I think it'll be slightly more serious. I
Right
think
on.
the why, and I love the first Guardians. I think it's one of the best Marvel films actually, and I think that was also a bit more bizarre. Like, so that was the audience reaction before they actually watched the film, and I think this one's more sort of like cool. I think Eternals will be more cool and more not mainstream, but I think it'll be less strange. Especially, I mean, I think James Gunn is pretty, it's a little bit of a strange guy, anyways. So, in a good way, and it's like he would do that, right? Like he would do Guardians, and I don't like Chloe Zhao would not.
Right.
So
Right.
I think Eternals will be very epic, and it's going to be. I hope it's going to be incredible.
All right. Well, what was your number 4?
My number 4 is Blonde.
Oh, right on.
Yeah, so Blonde is uh, Blonde is a fictionalized take on the life of Marilyn Monroe, and that's basically all you have to know. It's a biographical drama. It's directed by Andrew Dominic, who directed. I always forget. Sorry, he directed The Assassination of Jesse James by the Coward Robert Ford with Brad Pitt. So there's a certain caliber there. I've not seen that film, by the way. I don't know if you have.
I have not.
Okay, so it's a very dramatic. It stars Anna de Armas, Adrian Brody, Bobby Cannavale, and Julianne Nicholson.
Mhm.
It is a Netflix film, so it's going direct to Netflix. I don't know if it's going to get a theatrical run. I think so. I mean, it seems, if you know anything, I don't really know, and this is why it's not in my top 3. I do want to talk about a little bit. It does not have a release date, but again, I don't think it will be pushed. I think it's done. So it will come on Netflix. It's based on a book, actually. So it's a fictionalized take on Marilyn Monroe. I've not read the book either. Why it's my number 4? I love Marilyn Monroe. I think she's one of the most fascinating women of all time in history, and in a very modern sense too, right? Like if you went back in time and met her, you could still, like 2021 Kelvin or 2021 Matt could meet her, 60 years ago, and we would still be able to talk to her, interact with her, if that makes sense.
For
Like
sure.
like Cleopatra, I wouldn't really, you know what I mean? Like if
Right.
I went back
Right
in
on.
time, like, hey,
Well,
why
plus
is this
I
guy
think
here?
that a lot of people have a misconception of Marilyn Monroe. I mean, if you,
Yes.
I don't know how much you know about her, but I think a lot of people get this sense that she was like just some dumb blonde, but she was actually a really smart businesswoman when it came down to
Yes.
her image and the movies she wanted to do and all that kind of stuff. I mean, I don't know an overwhelming amount about her, but I
Yeah.
have read about her before, and she sounds like not just some dumb
No, no.
bimbo that sleeps with presidents and stuff, but she's actually was a pretty smart lady. So,
Right. Well, there was a little bit of that as well. A little bit of
yes,
drama.
but
Uh,
hey, listen, people
hey,
are
it
flawed.
happened. Yeah. But and that's why it's my number 4 is because I don't, like I said, I've not read the book. I don't know why it has to be a fictionalized take on Marilyn Monroe. Like
Mhm.
she's a very interesting life. I mean, and as you said, flawed. Well, where does that come from? She was some issues with her parents.
Right on.
I think she grew up with her uncle and aunt, if I'm not mistaken. So I have read about Marilyn Monroe, and I watched the documentary as well. So I know quite a bit about her. So I don't know why it has to be fictionalized. Like she had 3 marriages, or 2 marriages. She flirted with a president. So I don't know. I think that's the part that's sort of a sticking point for me. Like obviously dialogue you just make up, right? Like you don't know about the private conversations, but I don't think you really have to make anything up or add anything. Like she had a very interesting life. She
Very
had
interesting.
a competitive streak, even though they never actually met or hung out with Elizabeth Taylor. Marilyn came first, and Elizabeth Taylor was a little bit younger, I believe. So she was coming up, and so there's just such an interest. Oh, and I also think why I'm so looking forward to it is that they made, even though Ana de Armas, I believe, is Cuban, and Marilyn Monroe was white, but I don't know what her background, what it was. But anyways, so they're different, ethnicities. But she's probably the actress that looks most like Marilyn Monroe. I don't know if you've seen any of these set photos.
I have not.
But they've made her look like her. I mean, not identical, but from far away they look alike. And I think there's been there was a miniseries and a film with Michelle Williams, but Michelle Williams looks nothing like her.
Right.
Like nothing, like body shape, face.
Yeah, she looks good on set.
Yeah, exactly. So I think in terms of look, she looks great, and I want this to be. I wish it was just based on a true story instead of based on the book. Like I wish it was a 2-hour or a little bit over 2-hour like definitive take, like the definitive film of Marilyn Monroe. So that's why number 4. I wish it was, I wish they didn't have to add things that, she had a very interesting, fascinating, tragic life. I don't know why you have to make things up. Just take it from her life and just say these are the most important events of her life.
Right on.
Yeah. So that's my take on it, but I think it will be. Unfortunately, that's why it can't be definitive. But I mean, based on true story, maybe one day someone will do that. But in terms of look, she looks like her. The mini series, I believe it was Kelly Garner, who looks nothing like her again. Like, they're blonde, but they're just, facially, they look nothing like her. So it's just sort of, I've never watched any of those. But anyway, so that's my number 4.
Right on. Moving on, now we are down to the top 3. Woo woo. Okay. Woo. So I'm going to continue with my geekiness, and my number 3 is Black Widow. Now, I know that you had said that this movie is off your list because the anticipation for it has, faltered a little bit. For me, it has not. I'm quite excited about this movie. I've always thought that Black Widow should have got her own standalone movie way before this, and it's a bummer that it didn't. This was originally supposed to come out November 6th of 2020. It is now May 7th, 2021. I won't go into all the other stuff, but I do think that this movie, I still think it looks interesting. I think that I don't think they've spoiled anything in the trailers for us as far as what's going on. Plus, I really do think it'll be interesting to see the Black Widow program, like how, I like seeing in the trailer the different, Black Widows. I thought that they were, and just how there was like a different Black Widow, like a different race of Black Widow, and a different, like they were all so different. And it'll be interesting to see that go, especially Florence Pugh. Again, I don't know how much you have heard about her character or about any of the stuff going on with the other stuff in the MCU, but it'll be interesting to see that character in the MCU.
Yeah. And also she's a super up and coming actress as well.
For sure. Yeah, I love her. I love her so much. And she's so hot. So is Scarlett Johansson. So hot. Gosh, sorry, my alarm went off.
Okay.
And Rachel Weisz. Although I love Rachel Weisz, how she did those mummy movies, and she was all like, I'm not going to do any more of these silly comic book movies. Yeah. And then she's in this, and I'm all like, yeah, Rachel Weisz. Oh, what? Your Renaissance movies weren't working out for you, huh? It was like, what? Your indie films weren't doing it for you?
I think it was a little bit of this.
Yeah, exactly. I'm all like, stop it. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I know you said that it's not on your list because, it
Oh,
has
it's top
dropped a little
12.
bit. What was
Top
that?
12.
And
Top
for
12.
sure.
Yeah.
Um, do you have, I don't want to say anything because I don't want to spoil anything because
I,
I read a lot of spoilers online and I don't know how much you know, but
I know a little bit, but let's keep the spoilers low for anyone who watches this.
for sure.
Um, but I think yeah, I mean, I was really looking forward to it. I like the spy element, like I said. It's MCU. I do think it'll be a little bit. Who's
Who
the
do you,
director? Who's the
what was
director
that?
of Black Widow? Oh, it's a woman as well. It's a lady.
It is Kate Shortland.
There you go. So I think Kate Shortland is maybe a little bit like Chloe Zhao is a little bit ahead of her.
Oh, for sure.
I think I think Kate Shortland did a short film which was very good, which I've not seen.
Yeah,
But
she also did this one movie about a German girl. I'm
oh
trying to
yes,
remember
okay.
the name of it. I
I'm
have
sure.
not seen that one
Yeah,
either, but
yeah, I'm sure you're
yeah,
correct.
I
But I think
just go ahead. You go ahead.
yeah, I think Marvel has. I know Feige is sort of king. He's the god of Marvel
In
basically.
Feige we
But
trust.
yeah, small G. But he is so everything goes through him. That they have chosen very interesting directors. I don't think they get enough credit for the directors because I think starting with Favreau, that's sort of like a safe pick, right? It's not that interesting. Like Favreau is very good, but he's not like a dangerous director or anything like that. Um, or a controversial director, I mean. But like even the Russo brothers, right? Just plucking them from Community to direct The Winter Soldier, which is an action film. And it's like, have you ever? I wonder what that conversation was like. It's like, have you ever directed action? It's like, no.
Right
Okay,
on.
don't
Yeah,
worry,
no.
don't worry, we'll help you out.
Yeah. I don't know if
But
you
yeah,
know, but I love the Russo brothers. I love their story about
oh
Civil War. How they were like, they pitched that movie to Kevin
yeah,
Feige and he was like, no. And then Batman v Superman got announced and he greenlit Civil War. They
yeah,
said that in an interview and everything. By the way, for my viewers, I will be
sure.
leaving the article in the description down below so you guys can read that article yourself. But I thought it was very good
Yes. Well,
that he
they're very competitive, even though they say they're not, right? I mean,
right.
they're
Yeah.
watching each
No.
other.
Oh, yeah. I'm telling you right now, I'm pretty sure they're beating themselves up that Wonder Woman got out before Captain Marvel, a female-led
Yeah.
superhero movie because they were DC was the first one to do it. And then
And it went
like,
well, right?
yeah,
It's
for
one of
sure.
the
So,
rare wins for DC.
yeah. So,
Yeah, that's true.
all right. Well, why don't we move on to your number three? I'm quite excited to see what your top three
All
is.
right. Oh, thank you. So my third film is you might have heard of it. Uh, it is Dune.
Oh, right on.
Yeah. So, uh, Dune. It was supposed to come out last Christmas, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So it's been I think it was pushed back a whole year. So Dune is a let me just do the premise here. So Dune is a science fiction film. In the far future of humanity, Duke Leto Atreides accepts stewardship of the dangerous desert planet Arrakis, also known as Dune, the only source of the most valuable substance in the universe, known as spice, a drug which extends human life, provides superhuman levels of thought, and makes faster than light travel possible. So that's the basic setup for
Real quick,
Dune.
if I could just say real
Yeah,
quick so nobody
sure.
slams you. It's Atreides
Oh,
and
there you
it's
go.
Arrakis. I'm
There
just
you
saying
go.
this
Thank you.
because every time I
Yeah.
mention it, people in the comments section are like, "Hey,
Oh,
stupid, you round this wrong." And I'm all like, "Calm it down, okay, killer."
all right.
Like
So, well, let's talk about the behind the scenes. So it's directed by Denis Villeneuve.
Denis
Um,
Villeneuve. Sorry.
yeah,
I'm not trying to
Denis Villeneuve.
yeah. I
Yeah.
just don't want any because people are
No, no, no.
such assholes.
Yeah. So it's based on the 1965 novel of the same name by Frank Herbert, which will cover roughly the first half of the novel.
Right.
So the film stars Timothée Chalamet,
Mm-hmm.
Rebecca Ferguson, Oscar Isaac, Josh Brolin, Stellan Skarsgård, Dave Bautista, Stephen McKinley Henderson, Zendaya, Chang Chen, Charlotte Rampling, Jason Momoa, and Javier Bardem. Okay. So huge cast, impressive cast, great director. That's why it's my number 3. And why I can't pronounce it properly, everyone watching this, and it's because I've never read the book.
Oh, you
So I should.
should.
I know.
It's
But
fantastic.
I know. I think it's very famous. I think it influenced Star Wars. I think it
It did.
influenced. I don't know if it influenced Star Trek. You'll have to educate me. But
Uh, well, it's been called the greatest sci-fi novel of all time, and I
yes,
couldn't agree more with that
sure.
statement. It took Frank Herbert 6 years to research and write it. At the time it was published, it was the longest sci-fi novel. And I love this book. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. It's just I could talk
No.
about Dune all day. I read this book when I was 17. It really spoke to me. I was in high school. I was my junior, senior year of high school. I felt like Paul Atreides when I was reading it. I really connected with him. So this book is such if you're a young boy reading this book, it's really like a coming of age kind of thing. And for me, it spoke to me, and I love this book. So continue with your thoughts. I'm sorry, I didn't interrupt you.
Great. Oh no, the director. I mean, and I will say very quickly, I don't know if you noticed, I did a video on Dune, a trailer reaction.
I did.
It got, it got a good number of views, but the comments were so impressive. And because, I always ask, like, educate me. I've never read it. Looks great. But let me know. And I know there was a film in the 70s, I believe.
80s.
80s, there you go.
Yep.
Which was sort of a cult classic, I guess. Like maybe it wasn't received that well.
Yeah, I think it was just because Dune, the book, is such a
It's just
niche.
so dense, right?
Yeah, it's so niche that I don't think that like I don't your wife might know about it because she's a reader. My wife, I mentioned it and she's like, "What?" And I'm all like, "Oh, you've got to read this book. It's so good. It's like ridiculous." But yeah, go ahead and finish. I'm sorry.
No. So, I mean, the comments on that video, I made over 30 videos, and no video, like, I mean, the Batman v Superman, well, not Batman v Superman, sorry. The Batman, with Pattinson, what was the other famous one? Raya, Little Women, whatever it might be. My most viewed one was Mulan. Like the comments on Dune, like people write essays for me. Like literally, if you look at that video, I'm like, oh, explain it to me. Like why can they do that? Like why, like if they're so powerful, like why would like a knife hurt them, right? Like things like that. And like people are like literally writing essays for me and saying, oh, I don't want to spoil it, but they like tell me the whole book, right?
Right on, yeah.
Or they tell me the first half anyways, or the first quarter, because I believe the book's quite long. But yeah, I mean the comments, like people are so passionate about this novel. And I don't know how, I don't know how niche it is. I think it will be, I mean, they're working it out. I don't know if it's going to be a hybrid release. They're still working on that because it might go back to theatrical for Christmas this year. So it's supposed to come out this Christmas, and the director is what gets me. I mean, he directed Arrival, which is one of my favorite films for the past decade. Like, it's such a beautiful film, and it's so different. I like when directors are like, they do different things. Like that's why I do believe, I know I'll get flack for this, I do believe Spielberg is arguably, for me, the best director of the past 100 years, just because he does different things. Like whatever he's interested, like, oh, he's interested in dinosaurs. Okay, Jurassic Park. He's interested in war. Okay, Saving Private Ryan. Like I think Scorsese is very, that mafia sort of mob mentality, right? That mob boss, not mob boss, sorry, the mob film. He's done a lot of those, right?
Yeah.
Whereas like Spielberg, like just like Spielberg did Tintin, didn't he?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, which is like such
Yeah.
a, you know,
He
so
did
I
that
guess he,
B movie.
yeah,
Yeah,
like
then so yeah, he's
whatever he likes, right? He's like,
changing it
oh,
up.
yeah.
Hey, you know
So
what they say? Evolve or die. So
yeah. So I think Villeneuve, right? So
Villeneuve,
Villeneuve
yeah.
is one of the best directors for the past 10 years as well. So I've only watched Arrival and oh no, I watched three of his. Revival, Blade Runner 2049, and oh, what was the other one? Oh gosh. Um with Hugh Jackman and Jake Gyllenhaal.
Oh, uh, hold on, I'm looking at it right
I'll let you look.
now. Prisoners.
Yeah, Prisoners, which was great as well. So I really enjoy Prisoners and I love Arrival. So Blade Runner 2049 was a little, for me, a little mixed for me. I thought it was just a bit too long. But yeah, I mean, the director, this material, that's my number three. It's going to be epic.
Yeah, the
Um,
only
I hope it makes sense. I think it will. I think Villeneuve is, intelligent enough to sort of have this mainstream story, so everything makes sense for the audience who have not read the book like me. But I should get on that.
yeah, do it. It's really good. I just want to say, Denis Villeneuve is my biggest concern for this movie.
Oh, really? Wow. Okay.
Yes. I love the book, and I am not interested in this movie in any way, shape, or form. Because
Oh,
well, not
okay.
I
Yeah.
shouldn't say it like that. I'm not excited about it. I just got done. I haven't posted it yet, a video with a friend because he is excited about this movie, and I'm trying to get excited because I love the book so much. But Blade Runner 2049 really showed me that maybe Denis Villeneuve can't do these niche projects. And I could be totally wrong with this movie. Maybe because Blade Runner 2049 was a cult classic. I didn't like the first movie, Blade Runner. So I was like, I
Yeah.
don't know if I'll like the second one, and I didn't.
Yeah.
And like you, I thought it was too long, and plus I thought it was very boring. I just don't like it. But I did like Arrival, and I did like Sicario. He did Sicario.
Nice.
So
Yes, I haven't seen that one.
yeah, so I think that he'll handle action sequences well, and in Dune there are some pretty big action sequences, so I'm quite excited about that. But um we'll see, and I have the right to change my opinion
Yeah, of
in my
course.
mind, which is totally possible because like I said, I do like Dune the book a lot. My only thing is I don't know when they're going to end. I have a clue of when they're going to end the movie, and I wish they would end it a little bit either sooner or later,
Right.
but I'm not making it, so we'll see what they do.
What did you? So, I don't want to go too long on this, but what did you think of the trailer?
In all honesty, I thought it was very lackluster. My problem is the look of it. It looks very
Okay.
bland as far as color goes. Like I understand sand, you can't really do anything, and that's what
Yeah.
Arrakis is. But it was very a lot of mute tones.
Sure.
It
Sure.
was a lot of beige and
Yeah, it
black.
is very. Yeah, it's almost very Zack Snydery, right? Like
Yeah,
it's very.
so I was kind of hoping that they would make it look aesthetically pleasing,
Yeah.
but I don't think that they did. But at the same time, and I'll say this, and I told my friend who's excited about it that that sandworm looks just like a giant butthole to me. I can't get over that thing. It's so freaking ugly. I do not like it.
Oh, okay.
It was, in my opinion, that from the trailer, that was the worst choice to make it look like that because it looks so freaking gross. And
Yeah.
I won't change my opinion on that because I don't like it. But yeah, I'll still see this movie either way on digital or on in the theaters. But
Oh,
I will
sorry.
see it.
Yeah, and I want to ask, do you have HBO Max, by the way?
In fact, I wrote that down because that was a question I was going to ask you. I do not. I am waiting for the Snyder Cut to be released. I will be getting it
There you
in
go.
March. I will order it the week of
Hmm.
the Snyder Cut. I'm trying to feed that algorithm
Yeah.
so HBO and Warner Brothers and HBO, they know that Snyder Cut content is what I am interested in, and if it's not Snyder Cut content, then I don't want your service. So
Yeah.
because it's $15 an hour, so I mean an hour a month.
Yeah.
So
I know it's
they're
not, it's not, hey, money is money, man.
Yeah. I was like, hey,
Yeah.
listen, you don't want to give me what I want? That's cool. My money spends green everywhere. So,
Yeah.
you want my $15, my $15.99 a month, you got to earn it. So, because I'm a
Yeah.
blue collar kind of guy and I'm not just going to be doling out my cash. I got 2 kids to feed and they don't like cat
Oh
food
yeah.
for dinner. So
Yeah.
you
Oh,
better,
absolutely.
so yeah.
Absolutely.
So why don't we move into our number one and number two? So for my number two
Yeah.
is The Suicide Squad. I can't tell you
Right.
how excited I am about this movie. It's directed by James Gunn. It's starring Margot Robbie, Viola Davis, Joel Kinnaman, Jai Courtney, John Cena, Peter Capaldi, and Sylvester Stallone, along with Idris Elba. Its opening is on August 6th, 2021, with a simultaneous release on HBO Max. And then it says 2016 Suicide Squad may be rotten, but the 2021 follow-up might just redeem the series. Most of the primary cast is returning, with Idris Elba joining in a new role, Bloodsport. The star-studded cast is also adding Storm Reed, Flula Borg, love Flula Borg, Nathan Fillion, and Pete Davidson. And James Gunn is attached as director, and he returns to Disney after he will return to Disney for Guardians of the Galaxy 3. And I'm excited about this movie just because I enjoy the Suicide Squad. I love DC. I'm a DC kid all the way. I like Marvel, but I love DC way more. And I just really like. I think that James Gunn will handle these characters well. I think that his handling of the Guardians of the Galaxy was really good, and I think that he can handle an ensemble cast. Um, Also, reading spoilers off the internet, I think that it'll be interesting, the villain that he's chosen, which I'm not going to spoil it here
No,
for you
I
or
have
the
no idea what's
people.
going on in that film.
Yeah, I'm not going to spoil it. My only concern is that he said in the DC fandom footage that it was a 70s war kind of film, and I
Oh,
think
okay.
that might hurt it a little bit just because I'm not interested in that. But
Right.
at the same time, you add Harley Quinn with a bazooka, and I'm all in. So we
Yeah.
shall see. We shall see.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So I just want to comment on yours before I get to number two for me. So, you know, oh, and I just want to say thank you so much for inviting me to do this. And, I don't want to offend you, but I'm not interested at all in
Right on.
the Suicide Squad. I think it's, I'm a Batman guy, but I'm also like I've really fallen in love with Superman over the past 10 years. Or actually not the past 10 years, maybe the past 20 years now, since Smallville. Yeah, 20 years. Oh my gosh. Because when I was a kid, I never was a huge comic guy. I just couldn't get into them. They're too difficult for me. Because there are issues, right?
Right.
And I wasn't bright enough. So like I
Oh.
read like I read like one Spider-Man comic. I was like, okay, like I have no idea what's going on because I didn't read the previous one. Um, but I read what was it, Batman Year One recently, and I've tried to read I think I just like it on shows and movies, and I think it's just easier for me, my brain. But anyways, so I really want more Henry Cavill as Superman, and
Yeah.
I think and we'll talk about it later. So I don't want to dwell
Yeah,
on
we
that,
will.
but I think the Suicide Squad is sort of like I understand it. It made money the first one, and you don't want to whatever throw these characters out. Harley Quinn's just too popular.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I do think as showed. I don't know how. I don't know if she's your favorite character, but I think Birds of Prey. I didn't watch Birds of Prey, by the way. Uh,
Don't.
my wife said it was good. Have you
Oh.
seen it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
It's
So
it's not bad, but it's not good.
okay, there you go.
But
So I
I'm
haven't
glad
seen.
your wife liked it. And
Yeah, yeah.
I think
Um,
my wife liked it too. Or she was like, it wasn't as bad as you said it was. And I'm all like,
yeah,
oh, you're right, it's worse.
yeah. So I have not seen that one. I do think the Suicide Squad. That was sort of like a moment that it was different, because remember Sony has been trying to do this for years, and they just haven't like DC beat them to it. So it wasn't a victory because the film was horrible, but in terms of beating other studios, because Sony's been trying to do Sinister Six since Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man in the mid 2010s. So I think, like, for me, it was just the first Suicide Squad. I was looking forward to it. It was so disappointing, like profoundly disappointing, that I'm not interested in the sequel. I think it's a waste of time / resources. That being stated, it will be better than the original Suicide Squad. Like, there's no doubt.
For
Like,
sure.
there's no way it can be worse. I don't think. But I do have a concern because I think James Gunn did a fantastic job with the first Guardians. And I haven't seen any of his work outside of the Guardians films, but I really dislike the second Guardians. Like, I think it's too long. I think there's no, and that's the thing, like, Feige is God over there, and he is very good. Like, he's a very good producer. But I can't imagine him watching Guardians 2 and saying, like, and nobody saying, like, why is this so long? Or, like, cut this joke. Like, it was so, like, there was just so much, do you know what I mean? Like, it was so jokey, and it was, like, I think there was sorry, I'm very passionate about this, but
oh no, you're fine, totally fine.
And there was a tape joke, right? Do you remember that in the second Guardians?
Yeah, with the duct tape.
Yeah, do you have tape? No. What do you think? Why would I have tape, right? It's literally, like, if you time that joke, it's literally like 2 minutes. It's like, that old baseball joke was like, who's on first?
Right on.
And it just, like, I was like, I couldn't believe it. I was like, it's like, the first time it was like, hey, do you have tape? Why would I have tape? Done. Leave it at that. It just kept going on and on. I was like, I can't believe, like, Feige or nobody sort of like said, like, cut this joke. Like, why is this in here, right? Like,
gotcha.
I don't know. So I am concerned about Gunn, and he said he had free reign, which scares me.
Oh yeah, I think it's going to be rated R. I think that's a problem. Also, I think that James Gunn has been proven that when you let him have free reign, that he might take it a little too far. Plus I think constrictions really, I think it makes for better writing, in my opinion, because you get like, hey, I'm going to do this. No, you're not. You have to write something else. So
yeah, exactly. That's why I love Disney and Pixar so much, because it's like, you're in a PG box. Figure it out.
Yeah.
How are you going to entertain families for 90 minutes in a PG
right.
box?
Yeah,
okay, we're not going to say the F word. Okay, there you go. Done. Easy. We're not going to say the S word. Okay, easy. So, do you know what I mean? Like, what is it? Is it restriction? I don't know if it's restriction or another word, but restriction is the father of creativity. I think that's probably wrong.
We'll go with it. Just go with it.
But that's the point, right? Like, if you say, okay, that's your film. Like, that's what I really like. Like, people really, I know, like, on the internet, people really hate producers or, like, Suits, right? And I don't like them either. But if it's like, the example I always use is, hey, if I'm hiring you to come interior design my house, it's still my house. Does that make sense?
Yeah, like, no, for sure.
If WB hires someone to direct a Batman film, they have rules. So they say PG-13, no graphic sex scene,
right on.
No, keep the blood to a minimum, et cetera, et cetera. So there are rules. Just like if I hired an interior designer, I say, I don't like the color black. Don't paint the walls black.
Right on.
There you go. So it's sort of like
no leather.
Exactly. So it's sort of like, that's why I get it. Like, I get, like, the director, the creator, right? Of course, even like Snyder, who we'll talk about soon. But, like, that's why, well, we'll get to that. That's why it's sort of like the oh, hi.
Sorry, I muted it. That's my wife. Two seconds. 2 seconds.
Sure, no problem.
Okay, sorry about that. She's gonna get my kids up from their nap. So.
Oh, okay, sorry. So basically, my point is, restrictions are not bad sometimes. Like, if someone watched Wonder Woman 84 and had some suggestions, I think they should have been taken.
Right on. Yeah,
Rather
for
than-
sure. For
Rather
sure.
than
Oh, I have a lot to say. If we wanted to get, that's a whole nother story,
yeah.
but I have a lot to say about that with Wonder Woman 1984 for
Yeah,
sure.
well,
So what was your, go ahead.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, instead of, well, sometimes it's one person, the director. You need someone to say, like, that's a really bad idea, right?
Yes, for sure.
So,
You
and
definitely can't surround yourself with yes men, because
Yeah.
then, you know, and like you said, it's, and I just looked it up. I think it's limitation is the mother of creativity.
Yes, there you go. Thank you.
So, so what was, why don't we move on to your number
Okay,
two
sure.
and everything? What is your number two?
All right, my number two might surprise you, but my number two is Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Oh man, we're
Yeah.
gonna talk about that right after
All
this.
right, let's talk about it. So also known as the Snyder Cuts, I'm pretty sure you know the plot by now. So it's the
For
Justice
sure.
League. Ben Affleck, Henry Cavill, Gal Gadot, Ezra Miller, Jason Momoa, Ray Fisher. They're starring as the superheroes, taking on Steppenwolf still, but a differently designed Steppenwolf and more dark side. So this film will be 4 hours. And Zack Snyder has said it's 4 hours without credits. So it's actually 4 hours and 10 minutes probably with credits. But he doesn't do the end credit scene. So, once you reach 4 hours, I think that's it. Now, this is from why is it number two? So I'm really looking forward to it. I love Henry Cavill as Superman, and I think the original Justice League with Joss Whedon is just such a Frankenstein. It's not actually, it's bad, but it's not that bad. Like, I think the original, I don't know about you, but I think the original Suicide Squad, which is also cut up and sort of edited bizarrely, is actually worse than Whedon's Justice League. And sorry, you're muted. I don't know if that's.
I am muted. My
Okay.
children are coming down the stairs. I don't
Okay,
want them to ruin it with
No
their
problem.
laughter and stuff. So you
With
keep
their
talking, and I'll
childish
come in and
laughter.
everything.
Okay. But yeah, it's 4 hours. They spent $70 million editing and finishing this film with visual effects. So very famously, I'm sure you know the story, right? But for people who don't know, I don't know how. Like, I honestly don't know how. But Snyder had an assembly cut, which is just like, the film in order, basically, but not edited, not done, not visually. None of the visual effects are done. So he had an assembly cut, I think, like 4 years ago now. That was 5 hours. So he's cutting an hour out. I guess maybe that hour of footage wasn't very good, or really was, pointless. But I don't know how the script was 5 hours. I don't know how he shot 5 hours, to be honest. Like, that's an incredibly long film, right? But yes, it is 4 hours. I'm looking forward to it. I want more Henry Cavill as Superman. I hope this leads to that. I think it will. I think it's inevitable. I think there's just a core fan base. I don't know if that core fan base will be enough for AT&T and Warner Media to say, all right, we're doing another Superman film with Henry Cavill. Like, we're not getting rid of this guy. Or we're doing a Batman series with Ben Affleck, right, on HBO Max. I think, honestly, the Snyderverse should live on HBO Max. And just do a special, for the people who really want to watch it in IMAX or in theaters, just do a special 2-week run worldwide. Just do it on same date for the global box office. And that's just for the hardcore fans who want to see it on that silver screen. Like, I would do that, right, if they had another Superman film. But I think they should budget it accordingly, like maybe like 100 million. Like, I think the issue with Superman is, like, the box office receipts haven't been there, right? Like, haven't been what they wanted to be. So I think you have to, be realistic. Like, maybe $100 million Superman film that will live on HBO Max. You do a, weekend engagement for the theaters, or 2-week engagement. I think that's the awards run, if you want special effects awards. And yeah, so this has been a long time coming. I've tweeted it, right? Release the Snyder Cut. And it's awesome. Like, don't get me wrong, it's awesome that's coming. Because I thought it'd be quite honestly, I don't know what you thought, Max, but like maybe 2 years ago, I thought, oh, it'd be really cool for like the 20th anniversary, right, of Justice League, like in 2037. Literally 2037. They're like, WB, like someone at WB was just like, just release it, right? Like we'll spend $1 million on it just to clean it up a little bit and just release it on Blu-ray, because they did that for Donner, the second one, the Donner cuts, but I think it was 20 years or 25 years.
I'm not sure how long
Yeah.
it took for the Donner cut, but
Yeah, but
I know
anyway,
exactly what you're talking about. I
yeah,
bought it.
so
I bought it when it
that's
came
my
out.
number two. And very quickly, so I'm looking forward to it. I think, you know, his visuals, like Snyder's visuals, are second to none. Like visually, I think he's the greatest director of the past 10 years or 20 years. You know, story and, you know, a little bit of issue with story for Snyder. But I do think, like, I love Man of Steel. I think he did a great job. I do think Snyder, like, why is number two for me? I do have concerns. I do think, and I believe this is rated R as well, because there's going to be a little bit more violence.
It is.
Yeah, a little more swearing.
What are your concerns?
I think he's like, I have a love dislike relationship with Snyder. Like, I think he's a great guy in real life. But as a director, I think like visually he's stupendous. But I do think, you know, he's a bit of a rated R guy for a PG-13 film, if that makes sense. Which is sort of funny because I don't think he's not the type to take himself super seriously. Like, he knows it's a film and like your family is more important than a film, right? But I do think he takes himself very like, you know, these films are for adults, they're not for children, right? Whereas I think, you know, Patty Jenkins went the other way with that, where it's very light and almost like this is for children, or this is for like everyone,
She
for
took it
families.
into a comical, almost animated kind of thing.
Yeah, and I think Snyder's like, no, this is like a real story, and this is like for adults, and that's why it's rated R, and there's going to be F words and things like that, which concern me because I think it doesn't concern me really, because I think really like 12 and up you can watch this film, right? It's fine, you know. But it's just not for children. They're not going to sit for 4 hours anyways, like 5-year-olds, I mean, or 6-year-olds. And also I do think the length, I don't know, I'm definitely going to pause for washroom breaks. I just have to, sorry. But I will try to watch it maybe over, like, I think it's coming out on Thursday, March 18th. So
yeah, I don't know
yeah,
off the top of my head. Go ahead and
I
keep
will
talking. I'm looking.
watch it.
Yeah, it's a
so
Thursday.
maybe I'll watch over like Thursday night, Friday night, right? Split it up that way, just because it's so long, and I'll see the material, and that way I can sort of ruminate on it more. So yeah, those are my concerns, I think. But if this leads to more Henry Cavill as Superman, like new material, then it'll all be worth it for me. And like, I am interested to see how it does, because I think there's like us, right? Like, I'm presuming you're a big DC fan. I'm a DC fan.
Oh my god, I love DC.
Like, I'm in your camp. Like, I can admit it. Like, Marvel, like Infinity War and Endgame, like that was the
It was epic.
top of the mountain, right? Like, they did it, right? You can't take it away from them. They accomplished it.
Yeah.
Fantastic cliffhanger and fantastic ending, for the most part. And I think DC hasn't reached that. And I also, but I like DC. Like, I grew up with Batman and later on Superman, and Flash and whatever. But those are my concerns. I don't think it has to be rated R. Like, I'm not concerned with that. Like, I know a lot of fans are like, yeah, rated R. I was like, who cares? Just make a good movie, right? Like, they're PG-13 films that like have haunted me for years. You know, it's the way you shoot it, and it's the music, like the sound design. So I don't think it has to be rated R, and also the length is a bit concerning. I hope it's, you know, everything makes sense. You know, I don't want too much extraneous. Do you know what I mean? Like extraneous material where it's like, hey, this is like good stuff, right? Like, because I think, I don't know if you've seen Batman v Superman, the Ultimate Edition.
Yep.
But that's actually a better film than the 2.5 hour film, because everything everything breathes a little bit more. Like everything is slightly calmer. Like the editing, everything makes a little bit more sense, right? So like for Batman v Superman, I would give that like a 7.5, and the theatrical cut I would give like a 7. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I think his long films are better. I just don't want him to, you know, like I don't know if he went insane with it and it's just too much. But I am looking forward to it. It's my number 2. I mean, we've been waiting for this for a long time. Um, and also, I don't know if I don't know. There's a lot of other issues with it. Like if this is successful, then like I get what other people are saying, because I think there's like the Snyder fan base, which is like millions of people strong. But I also think there's the other side to it, which is like, hey, that's not really, it's not a director's cut anymore, because remember, this is 4 years on, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Snyder has changed as a person as well. Like we all changed in 4 years. So it's not the film he would have made originally, possibly. And it certainly wouldn't have been 4 hours, right? It would have been 3 hours. So it's sort of different. Does that make sense?
I mean, yes and no.
Yeah. Like yeah.
Keep with that thought. You're fine.
Yeah. And so for me, it's sort of like, I don't know. I know it's sort of the material, and like he shot like 5 minutes of new footage. Does that make sense? Like,
Yeah.
I'm not such a fanboy that I'm like, that I can't say, oh, that's sort of like, it's sort of like
I think you can
unfair,
be
right?
critical of somebody's
Yeah.
art and still be a fan of it.
Yeah, it's sort of like unfair or sort of like cheating a little bit, right? Which is
Right on.
fine. But it's my number 2. I'm really looking forward to it.
Right on. I have to say, well, we'll just move on to my number 1, which is the
Sure,
Snyder
sure.
Cut, and we can talk
Yes.
about this. My
Great.
number 1, the reason it's the Snyder Cut, Justice League, is because I cannot tell you how excited I am for this movie. When Justice League first came out, I didn't realize that, and I didn't know that Snyder's version of this movie was like totally like it's had some of the same elements, but it was different. And I
Sure.
didn't
It's like
realize that. Joss, go ahead.
butchered, basically. Butchered.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
didn't know that when everybody was like, when they first started the release, the Snyder Cut, I thought it was just the same movie and storyline, just different stuff, kind of
Yeah,
thing.
like extended scenes, right?
Yeah, and I thought I was just like, well, why would I want to see the same movie just, told a different way? I was like, that's not gonna, but from what I understand is,
Yeah.
Joss Whedon did so much like rewriting and extra filming that it is a completely different movie. Like I guess it's
Yeah.
like 70% different. And I'm like, oh,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah.
Well, then we're getting a different movie. The 4-hour thing does not bother me in the slightest.
Sure.
I think that if you look at Batman versus Superman,
Mhm.
the theatrical cut and the director's cut or the ultimate cut or whatnot, I think that Zack Snyder has this way. He films and writes the movie that he wants to make, and that he's so smart about it that he's like, all right, I know that I'm making a 3-hour movie,
Mhm.
and that the studio is going to say, cut it down to 2 hours. So I'm going to take this out, and this out, but I'm still going to film it because I will have what I wanted to do. And if they let me, I'll release that to the public. And I
Sure.
think that
Absolutely.
that's proven with this Batman versus Superman, the theatrical cut and the director's cut. I think that he's really good about that. I do have to say, one of the negative things that I don't like about Snyder is that his producer is his wife, even though his wife seems very charming and everything. It's the same thing with Patty Jenkins in Wonder Woman 1984. You can't surround yourself with yes people.
Yeah, absolutely.
You have to have somebody in there to tell you, no, you shouldn't do this. It's too much.
Yeah.
Because I think that, like you said before, limitation is good. And when you have constraints, it makes you think differently. And I think that that's the best way for creativity. Because
Absolutely.
I also think that the fandom is very strong,
Yeah.
especially with this Snyder cut getting released. The fandom is like, hey, and I'm, and as soon as I found out that release the Snyder cut was an actual thing, that there was a different movie, I'm all like, well, I want to see this movie. I want to see
Yeah.
it now. So I jumped on the Snyder cut, release the Snyder cut bandwagon. I was all like, I wasn't here at the beginning, but it's not because I didn't want to be, it's because I didn't know.
Yeah.
But as soon as I found out, I grabbed onto it. And I think that the fandom is so strong that there's this whole, hashtag restore the Snyderverse.
Yeah.
And I think that if Snyder Cut fans really keep with that, I think we will get Henry Cavill's Superman. I think we can get a Batfleck on HBO Max. And I think we can get things like a Black Canary TV show on HBO Max, which I would be interested in, even though I didn't. And like I said before, when it comes to HBO Max and Snyder Cut content, that's the only reason I'm getting HBO Max, is because of the Snyder Cut. If they didn't have the Snyder Cut on there and they just had, as far as DC movies go, if it was just Suicide Squad, I'm not going to get HBO Max just for that. I will wait to either buy it when they release it out for digital release, or I will go to the movie theater and watch it if it's open at the time. I don't need to waste my $15 a month, because they're one of the highest. I think them and Netflix are the highest as far as monthly.
What was the Suicide Squad on your list?
It was number 2.
You're like, no, not good enough.
So for me, the Snyder Cut, I am so excited for this movie, and I think that I'm a small piece of me wonders if I already love it because of, everything that's going on. But I hope that I'll be able to be, critical of the things that I don't like in it.
Sure.
And then go ahead.
It's 4 hours. I think that'll just happen, man. Like, I think you'll watch it and be like, love.
Well, there is some stuff, because I don't know if you follow Zach on any social media, but throughout the years he has been releasing, concept art.
I follow. This guy has influenced me. I directed the only commercial I directed. You can ask my wife. I made her film. I directed a commercial because of Snyder, because of a contest he was holding with Doritos or something. This is like 4 years ago. Yeah, and it's the only thing I've directed for the past 5 years. It's hard work, man. And that was a commercial. But I follow him on Vero. Like, that's how much I like the guy, but also, there are things that I'm like, you really don't have to do that. It's like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's very, anyways, I spoke about it.
Right on. And one last thing that I do, because some people do like to say that Snyder's, Man of Steel and Batman v Superman were not successful. And I beg to differ. Man of Steel made 668 million at the box office. Batman v Superman made 873.6 million at the box office. And that's not money that you just scoff at. It's not Aquaman $1 billion, because Aquaman's the best, but it is, that's a big chunk of money. And if you want to scoff at 800 million, that's ridiculous. So I think this will be successful. And like I said, HBO Max, I will be ordering it the week of that Monday. I will be getting I will subscribe to HBO Max, and then I will give them, I'll say, like 6 months. If they don't announce Snyder Cut content after that, they're losing my subscription. I don't care if you're going to release Matrix 4. I don't care if you're going to release, Godzilla versus Kong. I'll watch that because that comes out in March too. But I mean, I don't care what else you're releasing. I'll wait.
Yeah. I think do the day before, Matt, and then they know, right? Because I think that's why they shifted Godzilla versus Kong a few days, and then shifted a few days earlier for Snyder Cut, for the Snyder Cut. So I think they'll just look at the data for the week before the Snyder Cut, and maybe like the 3 days, right? The weekend. Like how the viewing numbers, because they just released that for Wonder Woman 84, and the viewing numbers were good for that film. So I think they'll do the same thing for Godzilla versus Kong, and compare it that way, because AT&T is looking at it, right? Because they own the darn service.
Yes.
Streaming service. So they want to know, right? They want to be accurate, and like they're saying, not that many people would sign up for Godzilla versus Kong a month ahead of time. Maybe like a few people, but not
Right
everyone.
on. Yeah, I'm just trying to feed that algorithm. So I'm going to buy
Yeah.
it, watch. All I'm going to do is if my kids aren't watching Disney Plus, I'm just going to watch Snyder Cut. It's just going to be on the background, and
Yeah.
because I need to,
Yeah.
I need to see that. All right. So now that we've talked about Snyder Cut plenty, why don't we get to your, I'm quite excited to see what your number one is because it wasn't
All right, man.
Snyder Cut. What is it?
I know. I mean, I do have concerns for every film, including my number one. So, it's not just
Of
against
course.
Snyder. But so my number one, because I watched I watched the original one recently, and it came out 2002. I was 14. No, I was 15. Sorry, but anyways,
You're so young.
Spider-Man 3.
Oh man, I will.
That's not on your list, right?
It's not, but that's just because for some reason I thought it was coming out in 2022. If I didn't have known, it would have been in my top 5. It would have probably been my number 3 instead of Black Widow. But you go ahead and tell me why you're excited for this film.
Yeah, I probably should have taken it, but as of recording, it's still on there. They haven't changed the release date.
Right on.
But if Black Widow moves, that's why I think it only moved 2 months, because they want to keep Spider-Man 3 there. And WandaVision is coming out already, obviously. So they can't really, well, they could move it, but maybe it's too long. But anyways, so Spider-Man 3 is directed by John Watts, produced by Kevin Feige and Amy Pascal. So not much of a plot. Like, we know what the plot might be. So it's dealing with the multiverse.
Yep.
And so it has Tom Holland, Zendaya, Jacob Batalon, Marisa Tomei, Jamie Foxx is confirmed, Benedict Cumberbatch has a cameo, Alfred Molina is confirmed, and some other very interesting people might be in this.
Mm-hmm.
So now these are rumors, these are not the actors showing the contract.
So everybody watching, please take it with a grain of salt. Yes,
but Feige has said some of the rumors are true and some of them are completely off. So, I don't want to spoil it for anyone, but
go ahead.
Yeah. So why is my number one? I just rewatched Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, the original, and it's fantastic.
So good.
It holds up.
Yeah.
It holds up 20 years later.
Yeah. Number 2 is great too.
Yeah. A couple of special effects are, a little iffy, but it's great. And I love Spider-Man. So when I was growing up, those were probably my 2. So Batman and Spider-Man, like those were my 2 guys. Mm-hmm. And then later on, you grow to not grow, but I did grow to like Superman, and you find out about Wonder Woman and other characters. And who's the other Marvel character for me? Gosh, it's Spider-Man. That's number 1. But I can't remember what else. Oh, X-Men. I love the X-Men as well. But yeah, so we could get 3 Spider-Man in this if Tobey signs on. Just sign on. So we have Holland, Garfield, and Maguire. If they have a 5-minute scene in the 3rd act, that's good, right? Like this is something that's been, sort of thought of, or this is an idea that people have had, the fans have had for the past 5 years, since Holland came on in Civil War. And yeah, I just think that pushes the edge for me. I know the Snyder Cut is sort of like, it's Snyder's vision, which is great. It's little to no interference as far as I know. I think no interference. And if it's 4 hours. And like that's great, but also there is like that 10% we have seen, right? Like I don't think Zach's gonna throw it out because he never watched Whedon's version. So I think from the fans he knows, sort of what's in there, but he's never watched it, so he wouldn't delete anything. But I think this is a brand new film, all 3 Spider-Man. I think they might be going with the Sinister Six here. They're just gonna cheat like cheat like crazy, cheat like crazy, and
It
they're just
sounds
gonna
like it.
yeah, and they're just gonna bring them in for a final battle scene. Sorry, a final battle scene. And it's gonna be epic, and I'm really looking forward to it. I hope it doesn't move. I really hope it doesn't. And so I've loved Spider-Man for a long time, and that's why it's not my number one. I think it's just, people have been saying, well, what do you do after Infinity War and Endgame? And you just have to use the Spider-Verse, really. Like, use that character, use the characters that he has, like the villains. And again, like, I'm not trying to start anything, but Marvel versus DC, like, they just beat them to the punch. Like, they didn't beat them to the punch, actually. Batman v Superman beat Captain America to the punch, but you know what I mean? Like, they just sort of do very similar things, right? Because the Flash film is sort of like that too. He's jumping between two worlds or two timelines, alternate realities, sorry. Or three alternate realities, whatever. And but I do think Warner Bros. Is very slow. Like, they're very, I don't know why, like Disney and Marvel seem like very fast. Like, they just pump these things out. And so I believe if it's not delayed, and that's another reason why I don't think they want to delay it, because the Flash film is supposedly, I don't know if this is true, they're going to start filming in 2 months. And Spider-Man 3, I think they're finishing filming. So I think the Flash film is coming out, it's still late because of the special effects. I think it's coming out late 2022. I think it's November 2022. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
Marvel
yeah,
just beats them to the punch.
yeah,
And,
yeah.
like, WB is just so slow and sort of passive about it. So that's my number one. I'm really looking forward to it. I hope it all comes together. And I
Yeah,
think
for sure.
Feige and Marvel have proven, and John Watts did this too. Like, there was a crap load of characters in both Spider-Man films, but they're just like, one line here, one line there. He's done a great job so far, John Watts. I know some people think he's a very bland director, but I think he's done a good job. And so I think they'll all come together, and they know how to do. I think Infinity War had 78 characters or whatever it was, and so they
Something like that.
Yeah, they just know how to bring them all together, and I think it won't be too much. Like, I know there's some concern that it's just too long, but this is the third one. I think you could get away with a 3-hour Spider-Man film
For sure.
and the first hour is just Tom Holland.
Yeah.
And so he'll get his arc and his screen time, and then you start going to these different characters are coming in from different worlds and different timelines, and the second hour and third hour, and not third hour, sorry, second hour. But yeah, so it'll be good that way. So that's my top 10.
Yeah, that's a great number one. Okay, so why don't do you want to do your outro?
Sure.
Okay, go ahead and then I'll do my outro, and then
Yeah. So thank you so much for watching. Comment below. Thank you to Matt for inviting me to do this. It's been so much fun.
Yeah, thank you for doing it.
Thank you so much. You're the first person who's asked me to do this, so thank you. I really appreciate it. It means a lot to me, and making new friends. So thank you so much. Everyone, like, comment, subscribe to Matt's channel. Like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much. I am on Twitter now at CalvinHurry86. So just find me on there. I'll promote this video on Twitter, of course. And you can also find me on Instagram at the Cinephile 32. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And hopefully we get these films, and hopefully there are no more delays. I know the past 18 months have been rough, but we'll get through it. And they are very important films, but they're just films. So we can wait for them, and they're coming, and they're going to help us get through it all. So thank you guys so much for watching.
All right, and then I'll film my outro real quick.
Sure.
All right. All right, you guys. So those are our most anticipated movies of 2021. Tell me, what did you guys think about our picks? Were any of our movies on your list? Go ahead and put your top 10 down below. If you like this video, go and hit that like button. I won't mind. You won't mind either, Calvin, will you?
Nope.
Awesome.
Absolutely not.
Right on. If you're new to my channel, please hit that subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it. And I will see you guys on the next video. You guys have a good day. Bye.